This is the Top Gun Brandon Beretta, and I'm here on the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast, the best podcast in the Midwest wrestling scene. You make sure you tune in every Thursday night, 8:30 sharp, to see faces like me, faces like Joe Vanetti in the future, and any of the top talent coming out of the Midwest.
This is Kelsey Magnolia, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag. Kanpai!
This is the Prodigy Aaron Helms, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is Shooter Shy Lynn, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is the walking weapon, Josh Alexander, current, reigning, defending Impact World Champion, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
What's up, everybody? It is one half of the beautiful people and 7-time women's world champion Angelina Love. And aren't you lucky? You are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Hey, I'm Marcus Buff Bagwell, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag, baby. Check it out, and remember, no matter what, I'm buff, and I'm still the stuff. Ha, 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 ha.
And now, CR Media presents the I-70 Hot Tag with your host, Chaos Chase, and the real Josh Elliott.
Oh, how long it's been. Welcome to another episode of the I-70 Hot Tag. After taking a couple weeks off, Josh and I are revitalized. And of course, I don't need to introduce myself. You guys already know. It's your boy Chase. It's my friend Josh, the real Josh Elliott. Josh, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to be back. 2 weeks, revamped, revitalized, recharged, and we are back with episode 75 of the I-70 Hot Tag.
Yeah.
What's up, Dean? Appreciate you, sir.
Dean Houston already showing love in there. Guys, if you haven't already, no matter what platform you're watching us on, whether you're watching us on the I-70 Hot Tag Facebook page or the I-70 Hot Tag YouTube, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button, the like button, whatever reaction you want to choose. It helps Facebook, YouTube, tell their algorithm that you like watching the show. So maybe other people might like watching the show as well. So as you guys know, if you guys haven't been here in a while, we cover Kansas and Missouri, Midwest independent wrestling, to give you an opportunity to kind of get to know some of the wrestlers in our area a little bit more. Got a special guest tonight, the Iceman. Gonna chat with him about his ventures in New Breed, tri-states, and all the places that the Iceman has been. Want to give a special shout out to our main event sponsor, Big Daddy's Donuts, with 3 locations in the South Kansas City metro area, 1 in Belton and 2 in Raymore. If you guys get to Big Daddy's Donuts early, you'll get yourself some delicious treats, delicious selection to choose from. However, if you are not in by 9:30, they will more than likely be out of mostly everything. So make sure you get there. And if you do, tell them that your friends over at the I-70 Hot Tag sent you. Make sure they put a note for the big guy. He's not in the office much anymore nowadays. He's enjoying the fruits of his labor, but hopefully maybe he'll get it and he'll know that his money is well spent on the I-70 Hot Tag. So
Yes.
guys, we are live. Like I said, on the I-70 Hot Tag's Facebook and YouTube page. But Josh, tell everybody where they can follow the I-70 Hot Tag other than those 2 platforms, and go ahead and let them know where they can follow you as well, sir.
Yeah, you can follow me at the real Josh Elliott. It's there in the tag. I've got all social media: Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. But for that local independent wrestling talk, as Chase already said, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, but we've also got an Instagram. We're on Twitter and we're on TikTok. You can go back and watch any of our episodes on YouTube and Facebook on the video library on demand. Last week's episode, huge shout out to Shooter Shylin. She was our most recent guest. Normally it's last week, but it's 3 weeks ago now.
Yes.
But she came on, talked about her matches in HCW and what she's got coming up. So go follow us on all of our socials at the I-70 Hot Tag.
Also, while you're shouting out our previous guest, Shooter Shylin, little known fact, the watch along for Shooter Shylin's match was removed off of the I-70 Hot Tag page because the guy who filmed it is a fucking moron and filmed it in shitty quality. But we still kind of got the idea. We understood that Shylin and Amina Belmont had a fantastic match together, so it kind of drove home the message either way, with or without that guy's shitty footage. So anyways, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes.
Josh, I'm not going to break tradition, my friend. I'm going to let you introduce our guest as I always do. So take it away, sir.
Yeah, so we got a big guest tonight, guys. We saw him last weekend at Tri-States Wrestling. They had a 4-night tour of Missouri. You see him also wrestling in New Breed. Well, kind of. Over the summer, he kind of walks out halfway through his matches and doesn't finish them, but we'll talk about that. Nonetheless, he did just win the U.S. Highway Championship in Gladstone for Tri-State Wrestling. Give it up for our guest tonight, the Iceman. How you doing, sir? You are on mute. Uh-oh. Can we unmute him? Let's see if we can get this. There it is.
Hey, there we go. Hey,
there we go.
Good.
All right, sir. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, I'm good now that we got that microphone situation figured out there.
There you go. Well, sir, we appreciate the time you're taking to do this interview with us. Obviously, if you didn't hear at the beginning, this show was made to put more of a spotlight on Midwest independent professional wrestling. So Iceman, I'm going to start off this interview the same way I start off every single interview. And I want you to tell us and our viewers, who is the Iceman?
The Iceman is, like most everybody that's in wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling fan. Born and raised in Missouri. I am actually from a little town about an hour and a half, like northeast of Kansas City, called Chillicothe, Missouri. And Chillicothe, we are known to, one of our biggest claims to fame is we are the home of sliced bread. And basically, yes, and I've had to explain this I had this conversation on the Midwest tour that TSW just had, was like, well, haven't you always been able to slice bread? True. You take a knife, you slice a loaf of bread, you have slices of bread. Okay. Well, what made us famous is the machine that was made to mass produce sliced bread was invented in Chillicothe at the local bakery so they can mass produce bread to be sold in retail settings. That's why we are called the home of sliced bread. So,
I did not know that.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you the date. I mean, I just know a little bit of the history of it. We are, that's one of the best things that we're known for. Of course, known for high school football. But one of the bad things that we're known for is just a few miles down the road is home to the oldest couple that was ever on death row. So, and unfortunately, since it was only just a few miles down the road from Chillicothe got the tag in that. But yeah, it was a husband and wife that got caught in some cattle scheme, and they was killing the transit workers. So anyway, that's a little bit about like my hometown, where I'm from. But yeah, the Iceman as a person outside of the ring is just an everyday guy. Love football, love baseball. Married, got 2 kids, got a grandson, got another grandbaby on the way. I just found out like a month ago. Yeah, that's who the Iceman is outside of wrestling. The Iceman in wrestling is a guy that's been around for creeping up on 24 years in wrestling. I'm a fun-loving guy that just loves to get out there and have a good time. You're not going to see high-flying lucha libre with me. You're going to see a character. You're going to see a guy that's full of charisma. Some people are going to love me. Some people are going to hate me. So, but you're definitely going to get your money's worth whenever the Iceman is in the ring.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure you probably hear this question a lot, when you do podcasts, but you said you've been in the business for 24 years. Let's go before that. You said you're a lifelong wrestling fan. When did you, or who did you grow up watching in wrestling? Who were some of your favorites growing up, and then kind of transition into what made you want to become a professional wrestler and how you broke into the business?
Some of my early favorites, because I started watching wrestling with my grandpa, like every Sunday night. It was like the early days of WCW back when in NWA, right? And also I grew up watching World Class. I remember perfectly the feud between the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. I mean, that sticks in my head to this day. But I grew up watching, guys like Ric Flair and Sting and, those, I mean, just the over the top, persona of those guys, man, that's what drew me to them. A lot of people's answer probably is, oh, I grew up a Hulkamaniac. And yes, just like most kids growing up, I liked Hulk Hogan too, but Hogan was a different, obviously WWF, Hogan was those guys, but I liked the grittiness of NWA, WCW early days. And I liked the Four Horsemen. I loved Luger and Sting and, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in his WCW days. Those early days, that late 80s, early 90s, those are the guys that I liked watching.
Yeah, and then kind of what made you want to become a wrestler, and how did you first break in?
I wanted to become a wrestler just because, like I said, I've always was drawn to the outlandish outfits, the over the top personas, the story of the good guy versus the bad guy. Or you know, like when the Horseman was just running roughshod over everybody, it was like, oh, those dirty bastards. I mean, it's like every time the baby face was right there, here comes another Horseman. You know, it's like that whole story of it is what kind of really drew me in. And I've always had a bit of entertainer in me. You know, when I was younger, my gosh, I was entering talent shows left and right. I was either singing, dancing, rapping, doing something. You know, I was in drama class. I loved, you know, to act, all that stuff. So when I seen all that pretty much wrapped up in wrestling, I was like, that's what I want to do. And I remember clear as day telling my grandpa, I was probably, I don't know, 12 years old, maybe. I looked at him and I said, I am going to do that one of these days. And of course, you know, my grandpa was like, yeah, sure. You know, unfortunately, you know, he passed away when I was like a sophomore in high school. So he only got to see me wrestle some in school. So obviously, you know, cause I didn't break into the business until I started training in 1999, made my debut in January of 2000. So that's where the 24 year anniversary is getting ready to hit. I don't remember the date anymore. Too many hits to the head. But I remember it was January of 2000. It took place in St. Joe, Missouri at the Civic Arena in front of about 2,000 to 2,500 people. I had pyro for my first entrance. People didn't know me from the guy sitting next to him, but they cheered for me. I had the most god awful outfit to start. It was everybody's got that early gear that they're not, you know, that fond of. So I'll back up a little bit. How I ended up kind of getting turned on to independent wrestling, because I didn't even know independent wrestling existed before I got in it. I seen a flyer for a wrestling show of this indie company I'd never heard of, didn't know any of the guys on the flyer, but it was taking place at a little town called Trenton, Missouri, just 20 miles north of Chillicothe, where I live. And, you know, tickets were like $10, whatever it was. So I grabbed a couple of buddies who liked wrestling too. And I'm like, come on, let's go check this out. And it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen, right? I mean, it's just like you see, it's nothing like your first experience at an independent wrestling show, if you're used to only watching it on TV, is very shocking. It's like you don't see the glitz and the glamour and the lights and all that. You're in a high school gym, and here comes a guy that looks like he could be your next door neighbor walking out in a pair of spandex, getting ready to fight another guy that looks like the guy across the street. You know, but to my surprise, there was a guy that was about 2 years, maybe 3 years ahead of me in high school. I think he was a senior when I was a freshman. He came out with this tag team as their manager. I hadn't seen this guy since he graduated high school. He'd always been really cool to me, you know, as far as like upperclassmen, lowerclassmen kind of thing. So intermission, I went and talked to him. I was like, dude, how did you get into this? I want in. I've been trying to figure out a way to get in. And so he introduced me to the promoter. Promoter invited me over to his house, and he lived in St. Joe. He was like, come over for a tryout. Well, my first tryout in wrestling almost caused me to quit wrestling before I even started. So then this guy, he's very notorious on the independent scene. There's still a few guys that are active today that have had their run-ins and worked for this particular promoter. Luckily for all of us, we were able to get away from him, and his name is not really on our resume. I don't put it out there and be like, oh, hey, he was my first company I worked for. No, he was a bad dream that luckily I woke up from. So so I drove over to this guy's house, and I'm thinking the whole time, I'm going to meet this guy at this house, and we're going to go to like this big gym, right? A big fancy gym or a school or something. Hell no. I show up to his house, and he's all like, hey, put on your pads and whatever, and come around to the back. It's like, what do you mean come around to the back? Walked around the guy's house, and I'll be damned if there wasn't the ring that I just seen at the show that weekend, or that weekend before, sitting in his backyard. He didn't have no wrestling school. It was his backyard. And I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world have I got into? But then again, I'm looking at a real wrestling ring and I'm like, cool, here we go, right? He grabbed a hold of me before teaching me anything. You know, the proper way to get in a ring, how to handle yourself while you're inside the ring, how to fall, nothing. He grabbed a hold of me, gave me a hip toss or a throw. Don't quite remember. All I know is I landed on my shoulder, partially separated it, stood up, my arms just kind of hanging there. And he said, okay, that was a hip toss. You ready to go again? And I said, no. And I seriously thought about quitting. You know, got things, you know, fixed. Stumbled across another company in St. Joe called Central States Wrestling Federation, which later would go on to become Central States Wrestling. Not the Central States Wrestling that is going on now out in Kansas, which, side story, Michael Strider, who is running the new CSW, was one of my original trainers in the first CSW that I was part of.
Nice.
So
little known fact, there is a connection between that old CSW and the new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't think
so.
Josh, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Joe?
Yeah, Joe McDonald.
Joe McDonald owned the yeah. That's okay.
Well, he didn't own the original CSW that I worked for. He came in at some point later on and bought it and did his own thing.
He came in like mid 2000s, I think 2004, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Red James. I seen him just pop up there on the screen. Red. I like Red.
Red wants to know if you'll tell us how you broke Justin Lee's face.
Oh, well, it wasn't on purpose. That's for dang sure.
Okay.
It was where was that? Arkansas, I think. We were wrestling. I can't even remember who it was for. Justin Lee went up for a moonsault, and when he was upside down, I went to duck to move, and the timing was off, and he hit my head and broke his nose on my head. It was the craziest thing ever. So, but anyway, that's kind of how I broke in. Started training. After 3 months of training, luckily got put on a show with only 3 months of training, only because there'd been like a couple of cancellations leading up to the show. And the promoter said, hey, I need a guy. Are you ready? Do you have a name? Do you have gear? What's your gimmick? And I said, I don't know. And he goes, he's like, you have 1 week to get it all figured out. Okay. So in that week's time, I come up with the Iceman, went to Hot Topic and wherever else I could go to find shiny clothes. And my first outfit, and you could probably find the picture somewhere on my Facebook still, silver leather pants, or fake leather, I guess. They're real shiny leather looking pants. A shirt, it was like mesh shirt with what I like to call a Mr. T starter kit. I went to like the dollar store and bought a bunch of fake gold chains and had a hat and sunglasses, and I came walking out to California Love by Tupac and Dr. Dre. So, and that was my debut.
So you've been the Iceman virtually your entire career.
Yes.
Nice. Awesome.
Minus, you know, like most guys, I wrestled under a mask here and there under a different character. When I was with the NWL out of Kansas City for a year and a half, I was a different character as well. So, but 99% of my time in wrestling, I've been the Iceman.
Well, what mask character were you in the NWL?
I wasn't a mask character in NWL. I was actually Niles Plonke.
Belvedere.
Yes, I was his butler, Belvedere. Yes, I have a love-hate thing about that.
Understandable. So Iceman, let's talk about Tri-States Wrestling. You know, they just came off their 4-day tour. ending in Gladstone. You had Franco Varga, Simon Gotch, Jeremy Wyatt, and Warhorse all there that took part of it. Kind of tell us about the tour, what it was like those 4 days, and kind of end this by telling us what it was like winning the U.S. title away from Simon Gotch.
I got to give a lot of credit to John Rockhold, who's the owner and promoter of Tri-States Wrestling. Tri-States has only been around for a couple years now, I think, or so. This is the second time he has went out on a limb and tried these 4-day tours. I got to give him credit for trying something that hasn't been tried, in independent wrestling for, gosh, if ever, really. It's quite the experience, for guys who are not used to doing multiple days in a row like that. It definitely gives you that experience, of what it's like to maybe live out of your suitcase, go from town to town, that kind of thing. Luckily for me, all the towns were fairly close to home. So when the shows were over, I was able to come home, sleep in my own bed, take a shower in my own shower, stuff like that. But, they're interesting because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you run a show on a Wednesday night, Thursday night, whatever, in these small little bitty towns that probably don't, get wrestling or any other big time entertainment. You just don't know what to expect. So you go in there and entertain, to the best of your ability. Night one of this past tour was in Palmyra, Missouri. I'd only driven through that town maybe a handful of times over the years. I've never done anything in that town. So, the crowd was small, but like I said, it was a Thursday night. The promotion was there. I mean, there was no shortage of promoting, that's for certain. And I was in a triple threat elimination against Bert Candy and Roy Lewis. So unfortunately, I came out on the losing end of that one. But and then what was that was the Thursday night. That Friday night, we were here in my hometown of Chillicothe, back at the Sliced Bread Innovation Center, which is actually the building that housed that bakery I was telling you about. It's now a historical landmark. It's like a visitor center. But in the back part, they fixed it up to where you can rent it out for different events, weddings, social gatherings, and now wrestling shows. And so Friday night, I wrestled Simon Gotch. That was the first time I'd wrestled him in probably like 10 years. Last time I wrestled him was one of his last handful of matches before he got signed to WWE. So it was a long time coming. And I knew what I was getting into, because I knew once he left WWE, he went over to Japan and other places, and his style changed. It was more of that strong style, that shoot style. I knew I was in for a hell of a fight, and sure enough, I was. Unfortunately, I lost. The crowd was silent. They didn't know what to expect. My wife was there. My mom was there. My oldest daughter, my grandson, my soon-to-be new son-in-law was there. It was his first ever independent wrestling show, and he gets to see his future father-in-law get beat right in front of him. So then Saturday night we were St. Joe. Yes, over in St. Joe. And I think that's where I seen you guys there. And took on the fajita taker. He's quite the guy.
That he is.
He is quite the guy. Lucky for me, I come out the winner, become the number one contender for the U.S. Highway title, which in Gladstone the very next day, I was able to overcome and beat Simon Gotch and win the U.S. Highway title for the 4th time.
Nice.
Yeah, my whole thought has always been, I'm glad Fajita Taker's a wrestler, because he'd make a terrible doctor.
That's very true. That is very true. I'm gonna have to tell him that next time I see him.
So I wanted to shift gears to another promotion we've seen you quite often in Middle of Missouri, New Breed Wrestling.
Yes.
I saw you in Sedalia, I think sometime in May, roughly, and that was around the time you were. I'm not sure if you're still doing it, but the working half a match and walking out. But I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on New Breed, kind of as a promotion, and kind of walk us through your time wrestling there, because I know you wrestled there quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been with New Breed Wrestling since their very first show, so I'm a New Breed original. I like New Breed. I like the fact that they have built up such a loyal fan base that whether they're running in Sedalia, Eldon, Fulton, anywhere that they've run, Versailles, they started running in Versailles now. They have such a loyal following, and the crowds keep growing and growing and growing. It's got a little bit of that old school mix to it because Scotty Z, the owner and promoter of New Breed, he actually was, I believe, a referee for Harley Race back when Harley Race had WLW in Eldon. So that's, he got his start. He was, raised in the world of wrestling around Harley Race and all the great minds that Harley, would bring in from time to time. So I think Scotty's doing it right. He likes to keep, the storylines, not super far fetched or anything like that. He likes to keep, your basic storyline, good guy versus bad guy, like as you touched on me walking out of the matches, I had been a babyface in New Breed from day one up until December of last year. When myself and Hard Luck Hal lost the tag titles, I couldn't take it no more. I got tired of catering to the fans. I got tired of carrying Hard Luck as my partner. When we lost, gave him a nut shot. I gave him a nut shot and put the boots to him, and we've been off to the races ever since. And yeah, you bring up the fact that I walk out of the matches. It's because I feel that the talent is not up to my level, and I don't feel like I need to finish those matches. And also, sometimes a guy's got to go to the bathroom, even if it's in the middle of the match. He's got to walk out and go. It's not my fault that I can't make it back before the bell rings, and counts me out. It is what it is. But no, in all seriousness, New Breed is right up there with one of my favorite places to go and work at.
So, but before we move on to the next question, I did want to ask you. You said you were a babyface for most of your tenure in New Breed. I'd like to ask: do you prefer being babyface or do you prefer being heel?
Heel, without a doubt. Especially if I go to a new company or a new town where they don't know me, heel all the way. I feel as I've gotten older, I make a better heel than I do a baby face, only because I'm working a little smarter in my matches now. So I'm more I do more character work than I do a lot of moves. Right. Back when I was, younger days and wanting to be a baby face all the time, I felt like I had to, not that I don't put a lot in my matches now, but it felt like I had to do a lot more. And of course, I started during the era of when ECW started getting mainstream. Everybody, all the fans wanted to see even the guys on the indies do the same stuff that they were seeing ECW do. And I felt like I needed to do that. I needed to have every match be gimmicked up with tables and trash cans. And I used to do a bunch of high flying off the ropes and doing some crazy stuff. Heel is so much more fun. I can go out there and in 2 seconds make them hate me so bad that they cannot wait for the babyface to punch me. I got to wrestle with this kid. He's the nephew of Michael Strider. So it was awesome to be this guy's first singles match, being the nephew of the guy who was instrumental in my early days of training. I told him, when we go out there, this is going to be the easiest match you ever have in your life. 1, it was in front of his hometown. 2, automatic babyface. He's a good-looking kid, super athletic. He's like, I think he's 19. I don't know. I said, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to talk some trash. And the first time you either kick me or punch me, game over. They're going to love you and hate me. And that's what we did. And we had a great match. I want to work that kid again. It was such a fun match. Another reason why I like to work heel more is because I love to get people so fired up that they want to fight me. I absolutely love that. Perfect example happened at Macon at New Breed here just a while back. a fan jumped the guardrail to try to get in the ring to fight me because I pissed him off that much.
Damn.
I hope that guy got his ass beat.
Well, if he would have gotten the ring, that's all he needed to do was stick his head in between the ropes, and I was gonna punt his face off. That was what was about to happen.
I wish, man. I love that. That's my favorite thing. I'm like, man, get in the ring. I want to see these guys get in the ring and get their ass kicked.
Well, and the little backstory with this guy, he's one of those loyal followers of New Breed that he comes to every show. And one show at Sedalia, he tried to jump the guardrail at me there, but security was pretty close that they stopped him before he did it. When we were in Macon, I had just finished my match. I was in a strap match against Hard Luck Hal. Unfortunately, I lost that. So my adrenaline's pumping. I'm mad, everything. So this dude was on me through the whole match. And he finally just said something that just ticked me off. He called me, and it was the most simplest of things, right? You know, there's no secret. I'm 49 years old. I'm almost 50. Yes, you can call me an old man. But for some reason, when he said, "You suck, old man," it lit a fire under me so bad. I don't know why. To this day, I can't explain it, but he did. So I grabbed the microphone and I said, "You sit there and you say that I suck, old man." I said, "Well, I'm more of a man than you are because I'm in this ring doing it. You ain't nothing but a bitch ass sitting there watching me do it." I said, "You need to get up and go buy yourself another ticket because you need to pay double to see me. You ain't got the balls to jump over that rail and do anything." Sure enough, he jumped over the rail. Of course, he fell because he don't know how to do it. So he jumped over the rail, he fell. And so I put the microphone down and got ready. I was ready for him to come in the ring because I was going to just annihilate the dude. And as soon as he reached up and grabbed the rope, security got him and got him back over to his seat. Then I proceeded, at that point, I was already over the edge. I proceeded to grab the mic and call him some more names that were probably not super kid friendly at a live show like that. So I'm surprised I didn't get in big trouble. But at that point, I didn't care. I was ready just to go. So, but when it was all said and done, I felt good about it because I did my job so well that this dude was willing to risk getting his ass kicked to come try to kick my ass. You know, I mean, it was awesome. So
the week before the tri-states shows, CSW here, you know, Michael Strider, they put on a show in Overland, or Lenexa, and Jeremy Wyatt gave an old lady a heart attack.
He told me about that. I was talking to him in St. Joe about that. Is awesome. Jeremy Wyatt, he's one of those. There's a very short list of guys that are still working to this day that's here in the Midwest that I feel should have been signed a long time ago. Jeremy Wyatt's one of them. And Jeremy Wyatt does such a phenomenal heel job. I mean, and when he told me that, I was like, I wish I would have been there. Not that I wanted to see somebody have a heart attack, you know, and possibly, you know, could die or anything, but knowing that you got somebody so worked up and hates you so much that
they despise them. It's the same two people that go to a show every time. And
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yep. And she comes out of her seat every time he comes out. And I mean, it's like feeding a Rottweiler a raw steak. Dude. I mean, he just eased into it. And so he was I mean, you couldn't even hear what they were saying. You couldn't hear what he was saying. He's just rah, 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 at her. And she gets up and she walks over. And like finally security comes over and says, "Ma'am, you got to go back to your seat." And when she sat down, she goes, and I texted him. I was like, somebody might die. and then that next day I get on Twitter and Jeremy Wyatt goes, "Yeah, that's cool that you did a flippy floppy over the top rope. But tell me, kid, have you ever given an old lady a heart attack?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about. It's a mother and son.
Yes.
And they have come to, back when Metro Pro Wrestling was around. I worked for Metro Pro for 4 or 5 years, and Jeremy Wyatt did too. And I remember those people there. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yep.
They seems like they haven't changed.
Nope,
That's
not at all.
awesome.
And like that's what's crazy too about like the Kansas City wrestling scene is you've got people like them. You've also got Arlen, if anybody knows who's Arlen is.
Oh my gosh, he's what you get if you order Ron Jeremy off of Wish.com.
If Ron Jeremy and the Iron Sheik had a baby.
There you go. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes.
You know, so
But no,
like I said, it's always crazy to see like those usual people there and that they still come and they still,
oh yes,
you know, still put everything into it. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's a promotion I work for fairly regular, Trailblazer Championship Wrestling, and I see some of the same fans that come to those shows that used to come to a lot of the Metro Pro shows as well. And then I see pictures of the CSW shows, and I still see some of the same fans. It's crazy. You're right. Yeah.
What promotion did you say that you see a lot of people from Metro Pro?
Trailblazer Championship Wrestling.
Okay, I didn't know they had fans. That's weird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some.
So you know, kind of talking back to our conversation at St. Joe, you talked about appearing on WWE television, and man, you were kind of I love like hearing stories. So when you told us this story, I immediately thought, okay, I'm going to ask you on air to tell it. Talk to us about that Brock Lesnar story.
Oh, when I got my very first opportunity with WWE.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Where I played the cop and I had to arrest Brock Lesnar. It was actually me and Jeremy Wyatt and a couple other guys from Kansas City. He's a very large individual. If you don't already know, I mean, and you guys have been standing, you guys have stood next to me. I'm not that big of a guy. I'm 5'7", 185, 190 on a good day, and not a whole lot of muscle. I got more belly than I do muscle. So, and I remember when that happened, you know, I'm thinking at any moment, this guy, I mean, because especially with your live TV, right?
Yes. Did he die? Or did I die?
No, you're.
Yeah. And then when he peeled his shirt off and just started flexing, and I was standing next to him, I was like, oh shit, I'm the closest guy. I'm the smallest guy. And all I could see is him. I just started, I mean, we're live on camera and this is all running through my head. I'm like, he's going to grab a hold of me and throw me here any second. I just know it. That was my first ever experience backstage at WWE, was being a part of the Undertaker Brock Lesnar feud, when they had their big, huge pull apart and was fighting each other all over the arena. That was a wild time. Wild time.
I wanted to ask you, you've been wrestling for 24 years almost. Do you have an end game? Is there a time frame you're wanting to hang up the boots, or is that not even in your sight right now?
It's been talked about. My wife and I have had many conversations about it, and I've had many conversations with other guys who have been doing it about as long as I have. Realistically, just because I'm a little OCD, I always said I wanted to end at year 25. Not, I didn't want to do 26, 27, or even 23. It has to be, 25. So as of right now, and I haven't really put this out, in the universe and made it 100% official, but what we've talked about at home is, once I hit year 25, by the end of that calendar year, I'll have my last match. Now, by saying that, I also feel like I still got a little bit of gas left in the tank. I feel like, not trying to toot my own horn, but I've had other guys tell me this too, have seen me my whole time in wrestling. The last probably 4 or 5 years, I feel like I've been doing my best work. I can't explain it, but it feels like I'm getting matched up with, high quality opponents. I feel like every match that I have is it just almost feels like my first match all over again. It's like that excitement and I don't know. I just feel like my work in the last 4 or 5 years as a character, in and outside of the ring, my in-ring stuff has gotten better. My promos have gotten better. So to say that I'm going to walk away in a couple of years, yes, that's out there, but I don't know if that's the true, end game of it all. I still have a bucket list, a wrestling bucket list of things I want to accomplish. I'd have to really think about it, but I also have a list of guys that I've either wrestled once before, I'd like to do it again, or guys I've never wrestled that I've been on shows with a million times that I'd like to tangle with. But
that was going to be one of my questions. Is there somebody you have not wrestled yet that you hope to before you retire?
Oh my gosh. There's quite a few, really. Believe it or not, me and Jeremy Wyatt have never wrestled. We've been part of the same team. Like we've done like a 6-man tag, and different things like that. But we've been on like a million shows together. But I've never wrestled Jeremy Wyatt one-on-one. And he, like I said earlier, he's one of the best out there. So I have no doubt that would push me and test me to my fullest. I wouldn't mind getting in the ring with Dak Draper, Moonshine Mantell. I've been around those guys for just a few years now, and I've been on a few shows with them. I've never had a chance to work with them other than like a battle royal. Those are just some of the guys right off the top of my. I'd love to wrestle Fuego del Sol. I have been around that. I've been around that guy since he was like, almost early on. I met him at NWL, and we just kind of become friends from there. We'd done some WWE stuff together. So I was super happy for him when he got signed by AEW. And now that he's back on the indies, I would like to give it a whirl. I really would. I'd like to step in the ring with Fuego at least one time. So, and those are just a few of the guys that I can think of off the top of my head. So,
right.
Fantastic. Well, Iceman, as we're kind of wrapping this thing up here, kind of want to, give you an opportunity to tell us and our viewers what other bookings and ventures do you got going on over the next few weeks?
Well, November, I went and grabbed my calendar so that way I can remember here. In November right now, I've only got a couple of things going on. November 11th, I'm going to be back at Mid-States Wrestling in Springfield, Missouri. That's another promotion I absolutely love working for. Space Cowboy Jason Jones is behind that. Great guy, great opponent. I've wrestled him a few times. So I'll be back in Springfield, Missouri, November 11th for Mid-States. November 18th, I'll be back at New Breed Wrestling in Sedalia. Come December 2nd, Mid-States Wrestling in Harrison, Arkansas this time. And then Tri-States Wrestling will have back-to-back shows in December, on December 15th and December 16th, to where on December 15th, I'm going to be defending my U.S. Highway title. So that's all I know that is planned for that, but it's kind of become a Christmas tradition now for Tri-States to do a back-to-back show, and it's going to be up in Bethany, Missouri, and more than likely be a fundraiser for one of the animal shelters up there. They bring in dogs that people can look at and adopt, and of course, I love dogs. I'm a big dog person. My dog's around the house somewhere, sleeping probably. But so I love going to the shows where the dogs are at, so I can play with the dogs. But I've got a couple other things in the works for December that would kind of round out the year. But my goal is to be done, obviously before Christmas time and New Year's, because got a bunch of the family stuff to do, around that time. So they kind of frown upon me being on the road wrestling. So,
right.
But yeah, that's kind of what I got going on for the rest of the year. It's kind of a light schedule, which is by design. I've had a few dates open up here and there, but I've chose to not really try to get them filled. If something presents itself and I'm able to do it, obviously, I'm open for discussion for sure. So
there you go. Is there any place other than at the events where we can buy Iceman merchandise?
Yeah, you can either contact me directly on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and I can ship you T-shirts, 8x10s. I just got a new shipment of buttons in. It's got different designs. If you contact me directly on one of those, I can ship it to you directly. I do have a Pro Wrestling Tees store that only has like 2 or 3 designs on there. A couple of the designs they have, I don't carry at shows. So you can get on Pro Wrestling Tees and find my store on there and get those. So, but that's pretty much it for now. So.
Fantastic. And Iceman, where can everybody follow you on social media at?
You can find me on all the social medias. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all of them.
So out of curiosity, was Matt Stockdale talking about your TikTok being funny?
Probably, yeah, because my TikTok, I don't really post hardly anything wrestling related on TikTok, which I know I should, but sometimes I just get in a mood and I will post videos of me dancing. There's stuff on there of me and my grandson dancing and acting around. I think me and my youngest daughter has done a video or 2 on there. I've also done, I think, 1 or 2 like super like serious type videos or something, but I just use it for that type of content. I mean, I do have, I think I've got some footage on there of a match or 2. But that's about it. I don't really use it to promote the wrestling side. It's more, yeah, I mean, it's under the Iceman, but it's more personal. It's just me at home or me out in public being goofy.
Awesome.
There you go. So we really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. That kind of wraps things up here. Yeah, for sure. We like to end every interview. I'm sure you saw in the intro, we like to make you center screen, have you turn up the gimmick a little bit and say, this is the Iceman and you're watching the I-70 hot tag.
Okay.
So you can start whenever you get full screen.
All right. I-70 hot tag. And just like those guys and the Iceman, we are too hot to touch and too cool to fool.
Like it. I like it. Awesome. Iceman, appreciate you joining with us tonight, sir. We will go ahead and let you get out of here. And again, we will either see you at a New Breed show or a Tri-State show, right?
Yep.
Do you do any work for KCXW?
So he can't hear us.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on, but when we had Shylin on, when she went full screen and we go off the screen, here, let's try this.
All right.
Can you hear me? I don't know. Something's wrong when we yeah. Well, we're done. I mean,
smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
So I don't know. That happened with Shylin. I think the guest before her as well. When they go full screen and we go off, for some reason they cannot hear us anymore. That's happened 3 guests in a row now.
That really sucks because I really wanted to hear him talk about KCXW.
I know. I mean, even Dean said he's been at KCXW, so
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, you know what? We didn't ask that question. Sorry, Red.
Yeah, we did.
We saw it. We
Yeah.
we didn't ask it.
Every time I see a bald guy, I know this is completely out of pocket. Okay. But every single time I see a bald guy, I think of this video I saw on rotten.com. And let me tell you about that. Right when we get back from the 5-minute intermission, guys. So don't go anywhere. Go get you something to drink. Go use the restroom. Try and catch the video in between. And Josh and I will be right back to talk some more Kansas and Missouri independent wrestling.
It's only 3 minutes.
Welcome back, everybody, to the I-70 Hot Tag. Your boy Chase, my friend Josh. We just got done interviewing the Iceman.
We did.
Yes. That was lots of fun.
Red James having a heyday in the chat.
Yes, singing his ABCs.
He is.
Well, it's good to know he knows them. So, man. We got quite the stuff to talk about at this one.
Yeah, we got a jam-packed second half of the show.
Yes, we're going to talk about XWE. We're going to talk about CSW. We're going to talk about Tri-States Wrestling because one of us went to 2 shows while the other one only went to 1.
Correct.
So we're also going to talk about our friends over at Heartland Championship Wrestling. They've got a big event coming up this weekend, plus some other news. But kicking it off, we're going to talk about some Fountain City Pro in Kansas City area. looks like they made an announcement that they're going to be running out of the Ball Event Center. And then if you were one of the lucky few that got a flyer,
where is the Ball Event Center?
The Ball Event Center is in Olathe, Kansas.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. It'll be in Olathe, Kansas. And like I said, if you were one of the lucky few that got a flyer at the end of Dynamite, there you go. It was leaked on that flyer that it was going to be premiering in March of 2024. Also, I haven't talked to the gentleman who made these, but there was a rumor that the date is hidden on one of these flyers somewhere. So there was four different flyers or like 8 or 6?
There was 5.
5 different flyers.
5 different
So
flyers.
Somewhere on one of these flyers, the date, the exact date of Fountain City Pro's first show was hidden on one of those flyers. So like I said, if you got one.
So March is that's news, right? They have not that's not public knowledge right now. Unless you got a flyer and right now.
Are you sure?
And then the exact date is hidden.
Did your contact tell you that? Because my contact told me that it was.
Oh, well, maybe my contact's an idiot. I don't know.
Heard that. Wish you didn't hear that, but I've heard that. No, I'm just kidding. That was not announced. So that is breaking news. Breaking news to everybody. Because the only thing that was announced was that it was going to be at the Ball Event Center. Those flyers told March of 2024. And like I said, somewhere hidden on one of those flyers is the exact date. So excited about that. That's going to be pretty cool. More wrestling in the Kansas City area, which is one of the things that Josh and I have rallied for since we started doing this. And that was more wrestling in Kansas City. So
yeah, more wrestling's never a bad thing.
It is not. It's not a bad thing for other promotions. It's not a bad thing for the wrestlers, and it's damn sure not a bad thing for the fans. So, but yeah, super excited about that. Speaking of excited, or the opposite of excited, XWE unfortunately had to cancel their Haunted Havoc show. The message from Duncan Curtis is on the screen. We'll read it here in a second, but this was super upsetting to me because I'm a big fan of XWE's Haunted Havoc. But he just said he wanted to reach out to everyone since he's fielded many people wondering about our next event due to some scheduling conflicts and such. We will not be hosting Haunted Havoc this year. While the show could be done, it wouldn't live up to the quality that you have come to expect from an XWE event. So they're going to be taking a winter break, guys, and they're going to be coming back in 2024, early 2024. So that is exciting. Red James claims that he couldn't make it, so that is why Duncan Curtis had to cancel the event. I find that very hard to believe. I also find it very hard to believe that Red James actually has a fan. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but there is a gentleman on social media.
Oh, I know. I need to ask Red how much he pays him to speak highly of him on social media.
It can't be that much because you saw how much he paid his dentist. So
anyway.
Yes. Anyways.
Yes. No, I'm in agreement, man. Like Haunted Havoc was probably one of my favorite shows that XWE does every year. Their graphics are always phenomenal for it. I'm pretty sure that was the cage match that we saw Valencia Paz wrestle last year.
I think it was
the War Games style match.
Was it Haunted Havoc or was that Super Brawl or anything?
I think it was Haunted Havoc. Red can correct us.
Yeah.
or one of them dweebs from Valencia if they're in here.
No, they're not.
So
I have them banned.
Oh, they're banned. Nice.
Red James says, I don't pay anyone. You know how much I get paid. Anyways.
Yeah. So that sucks for XWE, but it's nice they're gonna kind of revamp and kind of get ready for 2024. And come back strong. But speaking of shows, the other wrestling company,
speaking of coming strong
in Kansas City, Central States Wrestling just announced a show recently over the last couple days.
Yes, Bad Moon Rising.
Rising.
There we go.
Man. And there's
Bad
your
Moon Rising.
There's your two matches.
Yes, as announced by the EVP of Central States Wrestling, Midwest legend Michael Strider, the Monarch Jeremy Wyatt, who retained his championship from Spitfire Davey Vega, is going to take on Gil Rogers, who
is undefeated.
I mean, what is going on? I mean, haven't we had enough weird shit happen in the past 3 years, 4 years, that we gotta do this weird thing where, Gil Rogers never won a match in NWL. Never. He comes to CSW, somehow squeezes one out of the tube, somehow beats Luke Langley, somehow, listen, Michael Strider, we're cool, man. I like you. I like you a lot, Mr. Strider. But, dude, how the fuck does Gil Rogers get a title shot before my boy Scott Tyler does?
100% agree, man.
When did Scott Tyler have that match against Dread Roberts? Was that November?
No, that was December. That was Deal with the Steel.
Was it? Okay. Was it December? Okay.
Yeah.
So since December of last year, of 2022, Scott Tyler has not been pinned, has not lost a match. And don't get me wrong, Gil Rogers, I'm sure, is a really nice guy, but dude, this guy was infamous for losing. He has one fan, and his one fan takes pictures, really cool pictures. But you know what I mean? Like, Scott Tyler is undefeated and hasn't lost a match since December. And we're handing Gil Rogers a title shot against Jeremy Wyatt. Mr. Dogwater himself is going to dog walk Gil Rogers.
Unfortunately,
yes. I might buy a ticket to this event because I'm going to go see Luigi Primo come back to Kansas City. I'm also going to see all my other favorite CSW people. But let's just call the main event now. Jeremy Wyatt in 7 minutes by pinfall over Gil Rogers. It's done and over with. Let's go ahead and just give the people what they want. Michael Strider, Trinity Stevenson, anybody in the management team over at CSW, if you're listening, which hopefully you guys still do. Let's get this over with. Gil's this whole thing with Gil Rogers was cool back in 2017, guys. Gil Rogers is not going to be the guy to dethrone the Monarch Jeremy Wyatt. Give me Scott fucking Tyler, the Giant Killer, who hasn't lost a match, who hasn't been pinned in CSW since December of 2022.
Let me correct you on that. Never been pinned in CSW.
Yeah, never
lost. The only match he's ever lost was a triple threat match where he was not pinned.
Yeah, that doesn't count. So
he's undefeated.
Yes.
Scott Tyler's never been beaten in CSW. Put him in there with Wyatt. Get the title off of him. Put it on. And the writing's on the wall. Where is Scott Tyler's due? It's got to be coming.
That's right. Very excited. Can't wait to see Luigi Primo versus Ethan Price. So
Yes, Luigi's
get your
back
ticket.
in Kansas
Get
City,
your
man.
yes. Get your tickets. Get your tickets over there at cswtickets.com. $20. Go see a great show in Kansas City. So
Yes,
absolutely. Speaking of other shows,
yeah, Tri-States, man. We talked to our guest, the Iceman, about this 4-night event that happened over the course of the last week. Started on Thursday in Palmyra, Kansas, or Missouri. Then they went to Chillicothe, and then you and I both attended St. Joe, and it rounded out in Gladstone, where I went as well. So let's start off in St. Joe. Chase, you were there. I was there as well, but I'll let you kind of, take the lead on the St. Joe event, and I'll take Gladstone.
yeah, absolutely. So first off, Josh messages me and says, "Hey, are we riding together?" And I'm like, "Hey, give me a little bit. Like, I'm working right now, but I'm gonna text you." Then I get home from slaving outside in the heat, mowing lawns. I get home and I look at my phone, or I call Josh and I go, "Hey, where you at?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm just passing
The triangle.
the triangle." And I was like, "Oh, so much for us going together, you fuck." Well, you didn't message me back, so. And then I get there and Josh is still waiting for the fucking doors to open. So all that extra effort to leave me behind, and you still had to wait for the door to open. So anyways, we get in. There's the VIP, the first 2 rows. And then right next to the VIP 2 front rows are some bleachers that were general admission. So so the first match that started off was Rex Amadeus and Burt Candy. And man, was I hoping Burt Candy was going to be able to pull it off, but we got a Rex Amadeus win. So also our guest earlier, the Iceman, we saw him take on the Fajita Taker, defeated the Fajita Taker to become the #1 contender for the U.S. Highway title match the following day. Simon Gotch and Jeremy Wyatt went to war in a great match. Simon Gotch got the U.S. Highway Championship. The Tonys, a tag team from not around here that I'm not too familiar with, but they were the tag team champions, and they wrestled our guys Blair Dior and Tobias, and they came up with the victory on that. And then Stormy Renee put her feud with Shooter Shylin to rest with an emphatic victory. I don't know who writes this shit, but
Copy paste from their website or from their social media.
Oh, my bad.
I almost deleted that word just because I knew
you knew I was gonna fuck.
I knew it was gonna fumble us. Yeah.
Yeah. The Johnnies, it's the Tonys, but yeah.
Is that what I said? The Johnnies?
My point exactly. My point exactly. Anyways, and then the main event that was announced weeks prior to the event, but they felt like they needed to cut a promo and announce the match was going to be that night anyways. Franco Varga defeated the Warhorse Jake Parnell to retain the Tri-States Wrestling title. So
yes, and the crowd was pretty good. That was from what I heard from some of the wrestlers and some of the fans that went to all 4 shows, that yes, there were a couple of them. St. Joe was by far the biggest crowd of the 4-night event. There was probably 100 and
you think,
I don't know.
You think St. Joe misses having wrestling? Because they had Journey Pro a little bit, I think. Did Journey Pro ever do a show in St. Joe?
What was that, Chase? You kind of cut out a little bit.
Oh, I was gonna say St. Joe is kind of been given the shaft a little bit on wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Did Journey go to St. Joe at all?
Journey never did. NWL did. That was
NWL and
Stitch
Metro
and
Pro
I's.
did.
Yeah, Metro Pro went to St. Joe, and they always had a great crowd. Even the non-televised, house show that NWL put out, had a couple hundred people there, at the Armory there in St. Joe. So, I mean, they always they thrive on wrestling, and there's just not a consistent company that runs up there. So,
man, that's crazy.
Yes, crazy.
It
But
is.
the night 4, I guess not night 4, day 4, because Gladstone, North Kansas City, happened in the middle of the day on a Sunday. Started about an hour before the Kansas City Chiefs played.
Yeah.
So you can tell how big of a
hey, if you don't come to the show tomorrow, you're a Raiders fan. Yeah, because I'm gonna miss the Chiefs game to come watch the show.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So
wild.
Franco Varga wrestled all 4 nights and successfully defended his title all 4 nights. He defended his title against Rex Amadeus. Rex came out and was talking about kind of bashing Gladstone and which is ironically where Rex Amadeus is from. So Franco kind of came out and said, "Hey, if I beat you, you gotta admit you're from Gladstone." And sure enough, Franco Varga won in a pretty entertaining match, honestly. And Rex obviously had to get on the mic, finally say, "Yes, I'm from Gladstone. They still suck though." So it was kind of a weird stipulation, but Franco goes 4-0 on the tour and retains the TSW championship. The Iceman, as we talked about earlier, defeated Simon Gotch. And just 24 hours after Simon Gotch took the title off of Jeremy Wyatt, which who has held that title for, I think, over a year. But now the Iceman has it and will defend it in Bethany in December. Burt Candy. Here's one. Burt Candy came out and just demolished astonishing Austin Muitalo. And probably that win may have got him in a title discussion, possibly for that U.S. Highway title. We'll see. Stormy Renee took down Ethan Everhart. I'm not sure. Have we ever had Ethan Everhart? Have we seen him wrestle?
I think we have. I want to say he might have been a Tri-States guy, or maybe I'm thinking of like New Breed. But I think we have talked about,
because the name, when I saw him in person, he didn't look terribly familiar, but the name looks familiar.
Yeah.
So anyway, Stormy Renee picks up the victory and goes 3-1 on the tour, only losing once to the first night to Shooter Shailene. El Diablo defeated Dr. Ison in their first battle in Kansas City. They've wrestled many times in Central Missouri, but that was their first match in Kansas City. And in a phenomenal main event, we saw it the night before. The Tonys defeated Blair Dior and Tobias Storm. Well, it went the other way this time. And your new Tri-States Wrestling tag team champions, Tobias Storm and Blair Dior. This was the final image, I guess, the final people in the ring for that 4-day event. And it was a cool way to end the tour, seeing those guys win. It's still as weird as it was in Anarchy, where there was fans cheering for Jeremy Wyatt. It was obviously not as long or not as weird, but I mean, close to the crowd and wanting to cheer Tobias Storm.
Yes.
And
I'll tell you the first thing I'm seeing though. The first thing I'm seeing is that little kid to the left of Tobias's leg sticking his tongue out at one of the Tonys.
That's fucking phenomenal. That's great.
Yes.
So, it was a cool, man. Like the Iceman said, it was something that's really never been done, at least not in a very long time. Trying to do a back-to-back event like that, or a show, a tour. And they did it. So good on them. And they have a 2-night event in December. Christmas in Bethany is what they're calling it. So
yeah, December 15th and 16th. Now those Christmas in Bethany, like Iceman was talking about, those Christmas in Bethany shows, they usually do some type of fundraiser, sponsorship of some sort with an animal shelter, right?
Yeah. Actually, most of their shows are for animal shelters.
That is correct.
Yeah, so they do a lot of benefit shows, which is pretty cool.
Yes. Speaking of pretty cool, Anarchy Canvas of Dreams. Tanaka versus Gary J was uploaded on YouTube. I have not watched it yet, but I was super excited to watch it. So I actually went back and watched Tanaka's match with Mike Awesome at ECW One Night Stand. So wanted to kind of get prepared for that. Super excited to watch this. I may watch it as soon as we're done with this show. If my wife has already chickened out and went to bed.
I'll just say it's phenomenal. This is a screen grab at the very end. I watched the match earlier today. And I just kind of paused it right here and took the screenshot. So spoiler alert, but this venue is pretty cool too. It's like half inside, half outside. It was not live streamed. It was not, it's nothing. I didn't know the results of it until they started putting their YouTube out. So what a match, man. What if anyway.
True.
But yeah, Anarchy always puts on great events. And speaking of great events, they announced
a big one.
Yeah, as they do every single year. Mega Ticket, November 18th to close out the year, their year-end show as they do every single year. November 18th, 2023. I've already had the show prepped. I don't have it up, but they did announce 2 matches a couple hours ago.
Yes.
Gary J against somebody, and then 2 returns actually. Oh, speaking of which,
well, let's just go to the fucking. Let's just go to the fucking Twitter and announce it.
Do it.
You stupid womp bastard.
Do it.
Do it.
Anybody got the score of the Jags game?
Nope. Nobody cares.
It was 17-9. But,
Oh, yeah, buddy. Gary J versus Charlie Evans.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And Davey Vega defending his Destination Championship against the returning Everett Connors. Have not seen Everett Connors in a while. So Everett coming down and challenging Davey Vega for the Destination Championship.
Yeah, because Everett used to I know he wrestled a lot in the Anarchy, but he did a lot of work in Journey Pro as well. I saw him it was mostly pre-pandemic, but
this is weird. Red James has a Heartland Championship exclusive, which is weird because I couldn't imagine Billy Simmons giving shit to Red James. But whenever or actually we'll have Red wait till the end when we break down HCW. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So
Good. Yes. So St. Louis Anarchy, killing it with another show, man. Missed going to Alton.
Yeah, I know. And what I wanted to say too before we move on to the next event is we had a surprise return at Canvas of Dreams, and that was your boy Thomas Shire, who made his return after his injury, and he posted on Twitter that doesn't care who's going forward or what, but he is not stopping until he's getting his match for the Gateway Heritage Championship. And the only thing I remember sending that screenshot to you and says, "Here we go," because that is unfortunately he got hurt. So I mean, it sucks, but this is the path I thought was going to happen. Was Derek Neal is going to dominate Anarchy until he runs into that brick wall named Thomas Shire. And I cannot wait until that eventual matchup, whether it be at Mega Ticket or if it's the first event of next year, I don't know. But whenever that happens, I can't wait for it. It's going to be a clash of titans. So
agreed. It was funny. Thomas Shire, St. Louis Anarchy posted, after a lengthy hiatus, Tombstone Thomas Shire returned to St. Louis Anarchy, a canvas of dreams. His sights are set on one man, Gateway Heritage Champion Derek Neal. And the King's Road Slayer said, "Back of the line, Bubba." And to which Thomas Shire said, "Soon it'll be the end of the line for you." Now I do remember you and I, when we were going over the St. Louis Anarchy year-end awards, you know, you and I both made a bold prediction about Thomas Shire and Mad Dog Connolly, and it looks like Thomas Shire one hit on the head pretty hard. So, Derek Neal is pretty nasty in St. Louis Anarchy.
Yeah.
I don't know very many people that are going to go beat Bubba. But if anybody is, it's going to be Thomas Shire. So Mega Ticket, man. If that wasn't my anniversary weekend,
you'd be going to St. Louis.
I might be going to St. Louis anyways. Hey, babe, there's this really nice restaurant we could go to with that's over in St. Louis. In the weekend in St. Louis for our anniversary.
Don't mind me. I'm going to be disappeared. I'm not going to be there for a couple hours, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, you'll be asleep. It's all right. Next on the docket, we've got New Breed Wrestling. They have an event this weekend. As Josh just showed here, wrestling fundraiser, October 21st. It'll be at the Versailles
Middle School Gym.
Yep. Yeah, $13 general admission or $20 ringside tickets. So,
yep, it's Project Red. Pretty cool fundraiser. Yes.
If you guys get an opportunity, make sure you go check that out this weekend. If you are in that general area in
in the general Versailles area.
Yes. Also, going on, we've got you stupid thing.
Glory Pro.
Yes, Glory
Camaro
Pro with
Jackson.
Camaro Jackson. At the end of the last event, let it be known to Calvin Tankman that he would be revoking his rematch clause for the Crown of Glory Championship. So,
ooh, cannot wait for that, man.
Yeah,
cannot
again. Anniversary weekend. So,
that's the same weekend.
Yep.
You could have went to Anarchy and Glory Pro in the same weekend.
Yep. And nope, Anarchy and Glory Pro had to book events on my anniversary weekend.
How dare them? How dare them? They should have checked with us before they booked their events.
I know, right?
Come on.
I wish these fucking promotions would get our permission before booking on certain weekends. It's ridiculous. HCW. Yes. So, anything on KCXW for Saturday?
Yeah, man. Excellence.
Yeah.
KCXW, you're going to get Calvin Aldridge is going to defend that title against the big dog.
Again?
I believe it's the big dog. You're going to have Blair Dior.
Third time? Is that for the third time?
Yes,
Yes.
it's the
Yeah, 'cause
third
Big
and final
Dog beat
time, I
Calvin.
believe.
Calvin
Yep.
beat Big Dog. So now
Yep.
hopefully Calvin will put this to rest now.
He will.
So.
Blair Dior taking on Clay Huna. You've got Lady Pride taking on Shooter Shylin for the women's title.
Yes.
KCXW, which I didn't even know KCXW had a women's title. Is that just my stupidity? Or
I'm pretty sure.
It is my stupidity? Okay, thanks.
No. I'm thinking a new breed.
No, this
right?
is KCXW. Yeah.
Yeah, but Shylin was like the new breed women's champion.
She was the first ever, and then she lost it. Well, it was taken away for some
stupid.
Anyway, KCXW's for the women's title. So that's Lady Pride. See, Dean, they post their. I'm just gonna throw this out there. They post their. I love their videos. I'm a video guy. They don't post their graphics. Like I would love to just copy and put them on here, but they post videos and it's hard to get them on our show. But yes, those are the three main matches that are happening.
Especially when we put videos from other wrestling promotions, and then they get upset that we showed the video on our show to promote them for free.
Yeah. Bro, that's a cease and desist. Get that off there. All right, cool.
Red James won a title last Saturday.
I know.
I think Red James has like 4 titles.
He has 3, and one of them looks exactly like the WCW heavyweight title. It's pretty badass. He showed it he showed it on his live stream last night or 2 nights ago or whatever fucking live stream he was on. He's doing one every night.
You asked him though, didn't you?
I did. I said, show us your titles or show me the WCW title, and then he went and showed me his 918 title, whatever it was.
If you turn that 918 title upside down, it's an 816.
You know what diamond upside down is?
I'll never forget when I did that, bro. And Langley was just like, "Wow, you are a fucking idiot."
November 18th is my 28th. So is that your same day?
Close. Mine's 17th.
17th. Nice.
Yep. Mine is 17th. All right.
So yeah,
now that we are talking about,
let's talk HCW. Red, you said you had
he has an exclusive announcement of some sort.
Yeah. It's probably just gonna say he's gonna win some match he's in or something. Probably some.
Oh, he's gonna be the champ.
That's probably what it is. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. But while Red James gets that
save it, yeah, because we got seven matches to talk about before you give us that exclusive.
Yes.
Let's roll.
So let's Wake the Dead, October 21st, guys, Osage Recreation Center. It is going to be in Wichita, Kansas. The same place where their last event was. They packed the house with almost or over 400 people. Awesome event. So this one is going to be no different. Wake the Dead. Stormy Renee taking on Heidi Howitzer. We see Heidi. We see Heidi's super good friend, ACFC, super good friends over in HCW. So excited to see Heidi. This is kind of the closest to Kansas City that Heidi has been, to my knowledge, since Journey Pro ended. Correct?
Yeah, she does a lot of work over in Colorado, but in St. Louis, but she kind of just hasn't been in Kansas City. So this is the closest. Yep.
Nice. So this is definitely a
treat for the Wichita crowd, because if you've never seen Heidi Howitzer, you're in for a treat for sure. And Stormy Renee is also a phenomenal wrestler. So this is going to be a great women's fight here.
Absolutely. And I apologize. I don't mean to take away from these two women. But is there any merit to what Red James is telling us right now?
Are you telling me that Remington Roar fears Red James? Is that the breaking news?
That's definitely not the breaking news. Let's be realistic here. Remington Roar is not scared of Red James.
Well, that's exactly what it says here on the screen. I mean, is that not what Red James is saying?
But let's get to the main point of what he's saying. He's trying to imply that Remington Roar is not going to be there on Saturday.
I don't know. I did not hear anything. That's news to me.
Yeah.
That's news to me.
What's
not news to me is Valencia Paz is trying to, get the upper hand as they always do, and they're taking on Paradox, which I think Paradox is trying to find a partner. Is that what I'm kind of hearing? Like if Paradox can find a partner, it's going to be a 2-on-2, or is it just a straight up handicap match?
I have not heard anything. So
I thought I heard Angel or Valencia say something like, if you can't find a partner or good luck finding a partner or something like that.
I think Paradox will have no problem finding a partner in Wichita, Kansas, because they love Paradox in Wichita, Kansas. Number one. Number two, there is not a short list of people there is a very, very short list of people who Valencia Paz has not pissed off. So I'm sure Paradox could ask anybody, and given the opportunity to punch Angel and Bruisador in the face, anybody would jump on that like white on them.
Yeah, that's assuming Angel's going to be there.
Yes. Assuming that Angel will be there. Josh, you know what my mom always said about assuming, why you don't assume. Because you make an ass out of you and me. So, next match.
ACFC, man.
Yes, versus the Rebel Hearts. Now, is this for the KWA Tag Team Championships?
Yeah, from what I understand, the promo that the Rebel Hearts put out earlier this week, they are going to put up their KWA Tag Team titles in this match at Wake the Dead. So ACFC has a big opportunity here coming off. Did they wrestle? You're going to have to forgive me. Did they wrestle at the last Wichita show?
Yes.
Okay. Did they win? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so coming off a win. The last match I've seen them personally was against the Howlets. So they have a huge opportunity here to take those titles that the Rebel Hearts just recently won away from them and become the new KWA Tag Champions. So this is going to be a good match, man. Love all four of these guys, and they're going to put on a hell of a show in Wichita.
Absolutely.
Look at this one, man. Hector.
Yes, taking on Jose, man. So pulling back the curtain here a little bit. I really wanted Jose to be Dutch McLean's valet. That's what I really wanted for Jose. But it didn't work out. But this is going to be just as good. We're going to get to see Jose take on Hector, the Empire's new lackey. And I think this will be a great, workout match for Jose. So as long as none of Hector's friends get involved, Valencia Paz, Dick Richards, or Scumbag Ray Leon. Hopefully Scumbag Ray Leon will be more focused on what he has going on this night. And like I said, hopefully this is all your boy Jose.
Yeah. And I don't think Hector has many friends as we think. It might just be old Triple Dicks, because every time Ray Leon comes into the picture, he's not too happy with old Hector. So
yes.
But yes, and in a surprising match, man, I didn't think Sam Stackhouse making his HCW debut, coming in to take on Handgun Dan. Man, it's cool to see Sam. We've seen him down in Oklahoma. Mid States Wrestling. I believe he's
Yes.
their champion. So coming up here to Heartland Championship Wrestling. GCW guy. Kind of
Great
bringing that
guy.
validity with him. So
Yep.
super excited for this, man. This is gonna be a good match.
Yeah. Obviously I'm gonna go with the King of Thick Style, Sam Stackhouse. But little known fact, pulling back the curtain again, Handgun Dan happens to sing a fucking fantastic Fallout Boy. So I just wanted everybody to know that if you go watch this show, no matter what Handgun Dan does, just remember that Handgun Dan is 20 times, 30 times better at singing Fallout Boy better than you are. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Now, before we get into these next two matches, there's two fatal four-way matches, and each one of them is going to crown the number one contender for the first ever Heartland Championship Wrestling title, right? Now, the winners of these two matches are going to fight at this event. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I just want to get that out of the way before we start talking about the first one. First match, Chris Vale taking on Ricky Wingrave, Dutch McLean, and Ray Leon. So right here, we already know Ray Leon with Dick Richards in the Empire. We've seen him many times. Dutch McLean, we've seen a couple times as well. Chris Vale, not terribly familiar with Ricky, but this is all four of these guys could come out victorious. But I mean, I don't know. If I had it, I know we're not doing predictions, but it would be hard pressed not to pick.
I'm gonna do you one better. We're gonna bring up Red James's comment here. Okay.
What does it say? Okay.
So and Red James has a really good point here. Okay. Because our guy, Handgun Dan, beat fucking Ricky Wingrave. So I'm not really sure why Ricky Wingrave is in a match to get a title shot. But I digress. Like I said, all I know is Mr. Wingrave got beat by Handgun Dan. So
nice. So winner of this match will become the number one contender, and the winner of this match, Logan Knight, Franco Varga, Remington Roar, and Red James. Whether or not did we ever say one way or the other if Remington Roar is going to be there or not? Not sure. We're gonna say he is, and he's in this match. So
because our only source right now is Red James.
Yeah.
So
it's hard.
I don't know if I don't know if
it's like believing my 5-year-old son that he didn't punch his little brother and he's the only other kid in the house, right? So yeah.
Or like, hey, did you shit outside? No, that was the dog.
Oh my God. Stop.
Dude, we don't own a dog.
Oh my God.
Man.
Anyway.
Yes.
So Red James could come out of this victorious and be the number one contender.
Absolutely. And, we could have Red James versus Dutch McLean in the main event for the first ever Heartland Championship Wrestling Championship.
Yes.
Sorry, that's a mouthful. The HCW Championship. So, or we could have Remington Roar versus Ray Leon, or we could have Logan Knight versus, Ray Leon, or Chris Vale. So many different things can happen here, but all I know is that at Wake the Dead, Heartland Championship Wrestling is going to crown their first ever champion, and I don't want to miss it, man.
It'll be one of these 8 men.
Yep. One of these 8 men. And regardless of Ricky Wingrave losing his match last month, the point is that regardless of that, all 4 of these men are still absolutely deserving. So, yeah, crazy. Third HCW event. Both were huge successes, especially last month. And then here we are coming in strong, gonna crown the champion. So, well, Aaron Wallace brings up a good point. What if it's Red James and Ray Leon?
Could be.
They could find different ways to screw each other out of the match.
Man,
it would just be a gigantic screw fest.
It would.
I think that about does it, buddy.
It does, man. What a great episode, man. We're still under that 2-hour mark, but we covered almost every company that we typically cover in the Kansas and Missouri scene. They've got a lot of wrestling coming up. We'll kind of run through that here. Let me pull this up. So as we talked about, KCXW Excellence this weekend, the 21st, has 3 events. KCXW Excellence, HCW, Heartland Championship Wrestling, Wake the Dead in Wichita, and New Breed Wrestling in Versailles, Missouri. All 3 happening on October 21st, this Saturday. KCXW is in Kansas City, Heartland is in Wichita, New Breed is in Versailles, middle of Missouri, so all over the place. Appreciate that, Scott Tyler. Appreciate you tuning in, sir.
Absolutely.
October 28th, we got Cape Championship Wrestling, Hardcore Halloween. They always do a pretty good Halloween show. They did last year. This one's going to be no different. Also on the 29th, WrestleMax STL Misery Business. Lots of big names coming up there. The Premier is going to be there. The Howlets are going to be there. Raheem De La Suede, the River City Champion, is going to be there. Must see St. Louis Wrestling. That rounds out October. Now, something we have not talked about yet. I'm surprised we didn't do this at the top of the show. We do it here at the end where we have the least amount of viewers. But the I-70 Hot Tag is going bi-weekly. We're not having a show every week anymore. We're going every other week. So,
yeah, that's right.
We will not be back until November 2nd. And that will be Thursday, November 2nd, as you saw in the mid-show break. We will have one half of the tribe, Hoodie Howlett, making his return to the I-70 Hot Tag. Cannot wait, man.
Time. And now correct me if I'm wrong. Hoodie being on November 2nd, there's a special event going on November 4th, right?
Yeah, November
in Leavenworth, Kansas.
Heartland Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
Where the Howlets are supposed to be there, aren't they?
Yes. And Angel De Paz is supposed to be there as well, but who knows if he'll show up.
Yeah.
And his friend Bruisador is supposed to be there. And it's weird and crazy because I feel like this has been brewing all the way back to when was the first time we had Dick Richards on?
It was April. March or April. It
March
was early because you missed that show with Dick Richards, but that was early this year, first quarter.
Yeah.
So
and I know I missed the show with Dick Richards, but I think I was there for the watch along.
Yeah.
And that's where it started.
Yep.
Where they told us to keep our mouth shut and they told us they were going to beat us up if they saw us. And like I said, man, it just feels like forever ago. I told them, I said, hey, you wanted us to find somebody. I found the world's most dangerous tag team. So you guys in the Howlets. And for those that don't know, that match should have been at August. Then that match should have been no. It was supposed to be in August. My bad. but coincidentally, Angel just, I don't know what it is, man. I think he's allergic to HCW because he just can't show up. But supposedly we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it this time. Supposedly those guys are all in. So we're finally gonna have the Howlets shut the mouths of Valencia Paz. And I promise you, after the world's most dangerous tag team beats the ever-loving shit out of Valencia Paz, those two guys will think twice before talking sideways to me or Josh. So
You're damn right.
Yeah, listen, man. I never had an older brother growing up, so I couldn't call my older brother to come beat some big kid's ass that was picking on us. But now I got two big nasty motherfuckers I can call. So just to kind of put Heartland Championship Wrestling on notice, guys like Red James, guys like Ray Leon, guys like Angel De Paz and Bruisador, you come talking sideways to the guys of the I-70 Hot Tag. That's fine. I'll bring a tribe to settle it. So, yeah, November 4th, man. November 4th.
Yep. So we will talk to Hoodie about his upcoming match. Obviously, we'll talk CSW with him. We'll talk, maybe we'll go back and talk some NWL. He does he has some good stories he wants to share with us on Deal with the Steel and cage matches in general. He specifically, we're going to talk about some callbacks and shit like that. So I can't wait to talk to Hoodie about that. So this is a return, man. Can't wait for it. Hoodie's a great guy, great tag team, phenomenal athlete.
Great mind for the business.
Great mind.
Runs the KC Wrestling Academy with brother Anaya, Ryan Moonshine. And then of course Dak Draper there as well. So and our friend Scott Tyler, obviously works out there and trains there. So Scott is one of many who can attest that Hoodie and them are doing a great job over there. So other than that,
that's all I got, sir. Episode 75 is in the books.
But that's all, folks. Hey, we're getting really close to that 100th episode. What are we going to do for our 100th episode?
I don't know. But if we're going every other week, it's going to take a while to get there.
Is it now?
Well, I mean, we got 25 episodes to go. So
yeah, I didn't think about that.
It'll be like summer of next year before we get there.
That's all right.
If we go every other week.
That's all right. We'll do the 2-year anniversary right around 420 again.
Yep.
And then we'll do the 100th episode, and we'll have some pretty cool things to do for those two. We'll start figuring some stuff out.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
maybe we'll give away some front row tickets to Fountain City Pro. So, or
you think we're gonna have a hookup to that, or
do you think so?
I don't know. Damn, you must have some insider knowledge that I don't.
I'm gonna. Never mind. Anyways, Josh, why don't you send us out tonight, sir?
Sure, man. This is crazy. I'm not prepared for this. Not prepared, guys. This is the real Josh Elliott. Appreciate you guys tuning in. The I-70 Hot Tag. This is the host. It's weird. CR Media, Chase Riley, and as always,
go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Good. I had to get to the end video. Good fight and good night.